When we look at global shifts, economic instability, or pressures that seem hostile to faith, the world feels like it is spinning out of control. We start to feel like small characters in a story written by giants. This creates prophetic fatigue. We obsess over the news or check out entirely, convinced history is an endless collision of massive, apathetic forces. Daniel chapter 8 pulls back the curtain on these clashing powers to reveal a different reality. It shows us that earthly empires are entirely temporary. The vision begins far from our modern headlines, out in the dusty landscape of Susa, an ancient royal capital for several Near Eastern empires. While earthly chaos feels infinite and unpredictable to us, the rise and fall of nations operates on a strict, predetermined script written by God. The vision introduces a ram with two high horns, representing the Medo-Persian Empire, a vast ancient superpower formed by unifying the Medes and Persians. This empire operated like a massive tectonic plate, ruthlessly pushing its borders westward, northward, and southward with heavy, brute force. Then a goat charges in from the west. This is Alexander the Great's Greek Empire, striking the ram with blinding, unnatural speed. Alexander was a Macedonian king who rapidly conquered the eastern Mediterranean, Egypt, the Middle East, and vast parts of Asia. The goat violently shatters the ram upon impact. In an instant, a dominant global superpower is completely reduced to dust. These specific shifts were described by Daniel centuries before the Greek conquest of Persia actually occurred. This specific sequence suggests that even the most dominant global superpowers are bound by a rigid schedule they did not write. From the splintered remains of Alexander's empire, a different kind of threat grows. Daniel calls it a little horn, pointing historically to Antiochus IV Epiphanes. Antiochus IV Epiphanes was a Hellenistic king who aggressively tried to suppress Jewish religious practices and culture. Unlike the ram and the goat, this ruler relies heavily on ideological warfare and extreme self-exaltation rather than sheer military mass. His specific target is the sanctuary. He launches a calculated attempt to desecrate the temple, halt the daily sacrifices, and completely eliminate Jewish identity. The ultimate danger of this dark power lies in its alarming success in violently throwing truth to the ground. A military can occupy a city, but the little horn's assault on truth seeks to occupy the conscience. This shift from the battlefield to the temple targets the internal foundation of a people's identity. Above the dusty chaos of earth, the vision pivots to the pristine, clinical perspective of God's heavenly courtroom. Here, we hear the desperate question of the suffering believer witnessing the assault on truth. An angel asks, "How long?" God provides a precise, calculated answer to the chaos, a strict limit of 2,300 evenings and mornings. In Hebrew thought, this specific number represents the daily temple sacrifices. God meticulously measures and limits the exact duration of evil. Evil is kept on a strict leash. The chaos is finite, and God demonstrates his sovereignty by dictating exactly how long he allows the darkness to last. The ultimate fate of the little horn is total destruction, but he will be broken, explicitly, not by human hands. This "not by human hands" clause indicates a power differential that human strategy cannot bridge. The vision places the ultimate responsibility for victory on a sovereign act that humans cannot replicate. While the little horn exalted himself to desecrate the temple, Jesus, the true Prince of Princes, humbled himself. Antiochus defiled a fragile earthly building of stone and gold. Jesus is the indestructible true temple, who became the final, perfect sacrifice. Daniel was exhausted and overwhelmed by this vision. He lay ill for days. Yet he eventually got up and returned to his daily duties. Because we know God has already set the timer on earthly empires, we are freed from fear. We are empowered to simply go about the king's business in our own lives.